Hi everybody, Neil Kravitz here. For this Pearl, I'd like to talk about signing your first contract as an associate. On the weekends, I like to talk a little bit more about practice management. During the week, we'll do clinical techniques. So I'm very aware that this Pearl may be a little controversial. It's important to talk about. I always like talking about challenging topics. And if you disagree, please comment below and we can have a nice conversation about it. But I want to share my personal perspective as a young associate who made a mistake, and really as an owner now who has hired a number of amazing associates. So a lot of times this will be the first contract you have ever signed. You'll be in your mid-20s and you will be asking for advice, and a lot of that advice may not be great. You will be asking what your per diem should be, and you will be told from $1,000 a day upward to $2,500 a day. You will ask what your percent collection should be, and you will be told from 30% upward to 45%. And then we like to go into these conversations and these negotiations, and we try to negotiate hard because we are told that the only time that we have leverage is during the negotiation. But I will tell you that is probably the opposite of the truth from the owner's perspective. And the mistake that I made was I believed that I over-negotiated my first contract. I had a high view of my self-worth. I had too much confidence as a young doctor, and I over-negotiated. And I think that was a great mistake. And I think what's more important than the numbers and the percentages is simply finding a doctor that you are a good fit with, that shares your same ethos, that practices to your same ethical standard of care, that can really teach you how to diagnose, that will make sure that they are teaching you why you are there and not just putting you in a satellite office and sending you off to work. If you can find a true mentor, the money is irrelevant. And if you are making a little bit below what you'd like to be making, I think you have a lot of leverage after 6 months or a year to say, hey, listen, I hope I've shown my worth, but I really believe I should be making this amount. And I would really appreciate it if you can move me up to that salary. And I will tell you, your doctor cares so much about you, as I do with my associates who have made me all so much better as an orthodontist, that I will quickly move them up to that salary. So I think that is the better approach. And it is a different approach. It's an approach that probably maybe nobody would advise, but I think from an owner's perspective, I might lose a little bit of interest in a possible candidate if they were negotiating very hard in the beginning, and I may simply choose someone who is just eager to work with me, but knowing that I am someone who wants to make them happy, who wants to keep them in the office, and will quickly move them to the salary that they need to be at. I think the only point you may have to negotiate a little bit is a restrictive covenant. Now, covenants are hard to enforce, but if that doctor you're working for has a number of satellites, or if you are going into a corporation, I prefer private practice, but if you are going into a corporation and they have many offices, you may need to clarify that at the office that you're working at, that's where the covenant is, and not at all of their office. Nobody can restrict you from practicing within 10 or 20 miles. That would be too far. So I think that point is a little different, but salary, maybe it's more important just to work for the doctor that you really want to work for. So let me know what you think. I hope this was a good Pearl. Thank you guys so much for subscribing. Thank you for supporting the JCO.